We've all heard the stat, 95% of traders fail. Many of us have also heard the ugly reality behind MLM companies. 99% of people involved never make a penny, while the people at the top make bank. But what happens when we combine the Forex trading industry and an MLM business model into one organization? Total disaster. Disclaimer, this is an opinion-based documentary. I am not making any claims or accusations about any specific business or individual, and encourage you to do your own research and due diligence before doing any sort of business with any company online. I also want to say that if you are currently involved in a Forex multi-level marketing company, I am not trying to bash you or disrespect you. I have actually no problems with you at all, but I do have a problem with MLM companies as a whole, which we'll talk more about as we go along. First off, before we talk about Forex MLMs specifically, what is an MLM? I'll explain. MLM stands for multi-level marketing, but it has many other names: network marketing, direct selling, and a load of others, but the idea is basically the same. An MLM company relies on recruited salespeople to sell a product to retail consumers, but more importantly are incentivized to recruit other salespeople into the business underneath them in their downline. By recruiting people into the business as salespeople underneath them, a salesperson is usually compensated in some way and can potentially make commissions or royalties on the sales the people below them make. Very quickly, we can start to see the shape that MLM companies form. One person starts the business, recruits others underneath them, who recruit others underneath them, who recruit others underneath them, and so on. But the ugly truth? Usually a tiny minority of this pyramid make any money at all. If you or anyone you know is or has been involved with an MLM company, especially in the Forex industry, I want to encourage you right now to leave a comment down below with your experience so that others can hear more from people involved. Now that we know what an MLM company is, why is it such a toxic combination with Forex? Well, let's talk about the Forex industry for just a second, which I'm sure many of you are already familiar with, but we know that it has fancy cars, lavish lifestyles, huge profits, and a travel lifestyle facade that very few will actually ever achieve. Of course, having success as a trader is not impossible, but we can probably all agree that the reality is very different from the illusion. As many of you may have seen in episode 1 of my documentary series, The Dark Untold Truths About the Forex Industry, we know that trading is hard, requires capital to make decent returns, and will likely not be successful for the average hobbyist dipping their feet into the industry. It takes dedication to become a profitable trader and a lot of it. I truly hope that that video was in some way a sobering experience for some of the newcomers to this industry who may have been led to the stock or Forex market through promises of quick riches or easy wealth. If you haven't already seen it, I highly encourage you to watch that video before we continue. I'll pop it up on the screen now. I still remember the first time I heard about Forex. At the time, I was learning about stock market investing and swing trading and trying to figure it all out. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Forex MLMs and why I'm not a fan. If you stick around, you're going to hear why these sort of organizations are predatory, in my opinion, and you're going to hear from my friend Will, who has unfortunately been caught up in more than one MLM. So stay tuned for that. First off, what happens if you join a Forex MLM? Usually it starts with a text from an old high school or college friend telling you about a business opportunity they think that you would be a great fit for. They usually invite you to some sort of seminar or introduction where a ringleader tells you about the great success you could have with this company and how much so-and-so is making every single month from signing people up or learning to trade or whatever, starting your own business or whatever they're kind of trying to pitch. It's some sort of thing, but because we're talking about Forex MLMs, let's say that, these sort of situations, they talk about traders who are making so much money or people who have started growing their network to a point where they're making lots of money from that as well, and that you can do both simultaneously while you learn. And it all sounds pretty good on paper. Then whoever brought you to the seminar or event, they try and get you to sign up to some sort of membership or purchase some starter kit to get your education and your business started. And this usually is not cheap. Some people pay hundreds of dollars to sign up to be a part of these sort of programs. But remember, this is supposed to be a quote unquote business opportunity that is going to be a good income source for you, right? More on that later. Forex MLMs use the popular millionaire Forex lifestyle and the entrepreneurship illusions to its full potential as a selling point, and it's pretty uncool in my opinion. My first major problem with Forex MLMs is that their sales representatives often make wild income claims with no proof or backing, saying they're making so much money every single month or, that sort of thing, but it goes unchecked. And there's a reason behind that. We'll get to that in a second. They use it as a means to encourage others to sign up to learn to trade like them and to build a business like they are doing. And there's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. First off, when you become a salesperson at a MLM company, you are not technically an employee of said company. You are actually an independent contractor, which does not technically make you an employee of the company, and furthermore, frees the MLM company from a lot of liability from things you may say or do, which is exactly what they want. There's a reason on my YouTube channel, I'm not gonna go around and show myself in a Lamborghini and tell you that if you buy some sort of magical course or something like that, you're going to get rich. There's liability there, and people can reasonably attack you for that sort of thing. And so I do my absolute best on this channel to be honest and transparent, and I don't lie to the best of my ability because of this sort of liability. I don't do that because I'm trying to protect myself, but MLM companies will let salespeople do things because they have no liability for what their salespeople are actually doing. And this is a huge, huge problem. Usually, MLM companies are smart enough to know not to make wild, unchecked income claims themselves, but they have no problem letting their independent contractors make these claims without stopping them from doing so, since it is such an effective way to sell a product and build hype around some sort of program. Unfortunately, people often buy into lies much more than they buy into truths. Furthermore, I believe that oftentimes these Forex MLM companies don't directly tell their salespeople to sell in this way, but they heavily imply it. Network marketers often excite potential new team members by telling them to, quote unquote, use their special word, which is imagine what their life could be like if they could generate extra income, work from home, spend more time with loved ones, all those things that, are very, very good things, and everybody wants that. But they hold it and they sort of dangle it as a marketing tool to try and entice people into joining the company. Now you might say, Nick, what's wrong with selling a product and creating a team of affiliates? Which would actually be a fair question, but here's what the numbers say. According to a research study conducted by John M. Taylor, PhD, he found that half of all MLM participants quit within the first year. 90% of all representatives left the company within 5 years, and after 10 years, only 1 to 2% at the top of the pyramid were still with the company. One Inc.com article found that the average MLM sales rep makes about $2,400 per year selling products. So what that means is if people are leaving the companies on a massive scale most of the time, one can only assume that if this was such a great business opportunity, people would not be leaving, right? So that must mean that people are most likely losing money getting involved with these sort of companies. These stats reveal a very different reality than all those testimonials and the hype we see and hear from those trying to recruit people into the trading and network marketing programs offered by some of these MLM companies. The reason I am not a fan of creating a team of affiliates is that when you lure people in with an illusion of massive success, whether it be from trading or from network marketing, fully aware of the fact that they will almost certainly lose their money, it just doesn't feel right. Not to mention, most MLM sales reps are not particularly concerned with whether or not you actually have the qualifications or skills necessary to be a successful salesperson. They're much more interested usually in selling you the products as part of their downline to earn a commission or discounted membership, since they themselves are probably in financial debt, or at least they have money on the line since they paid to be a part of this program and they need to sell more in order to get themselves out of it. So they're very happy to pass that burden on to the next person, if you will. I have dozens of people send me horror stories of joining Forex MLMs and quickly realizing that it was all about converting them into a salesperson and very little about actually learning to trade Forex properly. Stay tuned on that, because when we talk to Will a little bit further in this video, you might hear a little bit of that because he is one of those people that's told me about that. But I receive all sorts of DMs from people who say that as soon as they got in, it was all about selling and there was very little about actually learning to trade and trying to get involved with the Forex market. I'm not saying that what is offered in these sort of programs is entirely bad. There are probably good traders within these sort of MLM companies. I'm just saying that the prices are extremely high to purchase memberships or stay involved with these sort of companies, and that with that super high pressure of paying so much money to get involved, there's also this super high pressure to become a salesperson to try and lift that financial burden or to bring other people in so that you earn a commission or your membership gets lesser, right? They can knock off some of your costs, that sort of thing. Again, what you'll find is a lot of times with this recruiting process, it's a lot about getting more people in to pass that expensive burden on to somebody else. It's kind of like hot potato. You're trying to get that expense out of your hands and give it to somebody else. Also, quick side note. If you remember in my last video, I mentioned that a very important truth in this industry is that you can actually learn so much of what you need to know completely free about trading Forex or trading stocks. There's so many great resources. And these MLM companies, they actually make it seem like you need to stay with the company in order to ever become a successful Forex trader or entrepreneur. And I'm a big advocate for the exact opposite. Use the free resources that you have at your disposal. You don't need to go invest tons of money into a particular company or anything. Explore, find things that work for you, test, take the time to work out strategies and back test them and all the good stuff that actually produces successful traders. Many people who go through these programs, they never even make money themselves. So they're paying so much money just to quit trading at a certain point. And I understand trading is difficult, but if you want to try and learn to trade, why would you just put tons of your money into buying these sort of expensive programs when, you know, you can learn for free if you don't have a lot of money and keep that money in your trading account instead? The internet has so many great ways to learn more about trading without spending tons of money. Myself, I mentioned in the last video when I talked about this, I never spent any money on expensive courses. Now, I may have bought a few communities or like chat rooms or things like that to just meet people and get involved. But for the most part, I did not spend a ton of money to learn to trade. And the learning that I really did purely came from back testing and spending tons of time to refine my own strategies that work for me. Most of these companies require you to be an advocate for their brand, which is a fancy way of saying you got to keep buying our products to stay in the biz. Let me be completely frank with you. These companies encourage you to, quote unquote, be your own boss and start your own business. But if you are required to buy expensive products to stay in the club or stay in the business, you have no say in the business's operations or decisions, that's not being a business owner. That's being a customer. Then you might say, well, Nick, the failure rates of people trying to become a network marketer sound a lot like the failure rates of trading. So how is this any different? Just like in trading, I am not a fan of selling a dream, and I would not talk about this stuff without saying bluntly that most traders are just going to fail. It's the unfortunate truth of this industry. And they just don't talk about that in the MLM industry either. So when you combine both of these, where people are saying, oh, you can become a rich trader and you can be a great network marketer, when both of the failure rates are so incredibly high in these areas and only the most dedicated will actually ever make any money, that is a serious misconception being showed to the public. So my company does actually have products for sale. We do sponsorships on some of these videos. We sell trading software for MT4. We host online communities that cost a monthly subscription. But we are very much against selling the dream that trading is easy because it is morally wrong. Like I said, if you really want to be a Forex trader, or let's say you even really do want to become some sort of marketer, those things take incredible amounts of effort and time and refining your skills and serious dedication to ever become successful. And those things are fine as long as you say it that way. When you go the opposite direction and you say, oh, this is easy, look at so-and-so who's making so much money trading or so much money being a network marketer, you're selling something that is just not the reality. And that's why it's easy to sell. Unfortunately, like we said earlier, people buy into lies a lot more than they buy into truths. The thing about network marketing is that, like trading, for a select few people, it can actually be successful. People who get into the business early on, have proper sales training, and know their products well can become successful network marketers. The problem is the vast majority of people that are recruited in with the hype and facade are underqualified and much more likely to be financially hurt by these companies and very unlikely to ever make a penny. Still not convinced that most people make little to nothing? Here's some more information. According to a statement released by Neora, I think that's how you say it, Neora, I'm not sure, another MLM company in the space, January 2020, 30.6% of active US brand partners earned cash commissions and 69.4% did not earn any cash commissions. The average annual gross cash earnings of active US brand partners was $1,054 for an entire year. That's the average. That is very, very low. Let's look at another statement released by Beauty Counter, another MLM. Now you might say, well, this is not the Forex MLMs, but you can probably assume that this is the basis for MLM models, and it doesn't matter if they're selling skincare products or if they're selling Forex education or training material. The business model itself is so built for failure. So let's look at this. Another statement released by Beauty Counter says that the average total annual income for all US consultants was $2,060. That's for an entire year of work. At this point, you're probably better off getting a minimum wage job here in the United States. One other major difference is that if you choose to get involved with trading, knowing that it is difficult and does have a high failure rate, that's on you. You choose how much you invest, and if you lose that money, then it negatively affects you. With network marketing, on the other hand, it affects more than just you. If a network marketer uses hype and glam to encourage others to buy into a business, knowing the extremely high failure rates that newcomers or people who get involved with the business undergo, that almost sounds like a trap. All right, guys, so I'm on the side here. We're just going to ask Will a few questions since Will has had the fortune or misfortune of being involved with an MLM in the past. Actually, more than one, right, Will?
Yeah, it was more than one. I gave it another chance, but in a different area other than Forex, which was dumb. But we'll get into it.
Okay, so I've got a couple of quick questions for Will.
Yep.
So let's just jump right into it. How were you first introduced to the Forex MLM that you got involved with?
So the Forex MLM, how I got invited to it was through one of my best friends who was also in it, and he kind of hyped it up as if he was killing it, but he wasn't. It was just a tactic after realizing everything once I was in it. So yeah, I was introduced from one of my best friends.
Is there any resentment, or is that person apologized afterwards? Are they still involved with?
Oh, no, they're not involved with it. It wasn't really too much resentment or an apology. It was just sometimes it just doesn't work out, man. And I'm yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Clearly.
Right. How much did it actually cost, if you can remember, to get involved?
Okay, so the initial cost, I remember it being around the 200 range. And just so y'all all know, it's just not a initiation fee. It's that you got to pay that monthly too. So that's kind of your motivation, quote unquote, to sign people up or to have like a good trading month to cover your cost, right? Because obviously you want to make more than what you're paying.
And I gotta cut in here too. I know personally Will works here at A1 Trading, and he's come a long way. I just know from his story. But tell me about in that moment. Did you have the money at the time?
Oh,
was this a big thing for you? Like what?
$200 was huge for me because I mean I could pay it, but the difference is, like as we always try to tell y'all, there's a difference between paying for something and then being able to afford it, right? I could not afford it. That 200 was like a lot to me at the time. I was like, I don't know, but then I was like, okay. Sometimes you gotta take risk in life. It's one of those bills.
You gotta take $200 risk, then you gotta pay it every single month.
Every single month.
Just to stay involved with the business.
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Especially, I mean, most people don't have $200 extra sitting around per month.
Exactly.
For something like this, especially when the return on investment was not great, which we'll get to in a second.
Exactly.
Which actually, I guess, so once you were inside of the group, what was the feel? What was the environment like as far as the seminars or the hype up or like conversations that you had with other people in the business? What was that all like?
Yeah, so it had nothing to do with trading. It was more so like who are you gonna sign up? Make sure, you know, I think it was actually, if you sign up 2 people, then your fee is like waived or something like that. There was a perk that you got for just like recruiting people for that fee to not even be like payable, which is like lame because I thought this was like a trading group and you're gonna teach me about trading and how to become a profitable trading. Trading was so far away from what was being taught within that group. It was just mainly about signing people up. You sign people up, we'll trade later, right?
So they were so I mean, because that's the question I had too, is like, was there trading in the conversation? Were people actually teaching trading? Were they talking about trading? Were people talking about making money from trading? Like, because I've never been in this situation. I'm just curious, what was that environment like in terms of the trading education that they had talked about?
Right. It was more so like there was people talking about trading signals were sent, but I don't have any idea about this, you know? Like when I got into it, they didn't teach about like, you know, brokers or depositing funds, withdrawing, none of that. There was no like, it was just like buy here, sell here. Okay. And there was no like, you know, let's hop on a Zoom and I'm gonna show you about it or here's a video to it. Right. None of that. That all like came later apparently, like where they had like different videos that would help you with your trading, but there was no one-on-one mentorship, like no one saying like only risk this amount, have a risk management plan.
All the good stuff, all the boring stuff we talked about here on
all
this
the
channel.
Boring but important stuff.
Yes,
right?
For sure. There was not a ton of trading emphasis, but they very quickly pushed you sort of to go for that, hey, get more people in to cover your fee,
right? So
that we can get onto the trading stuff. Was that the vibe? Was that the feel?
I think that was the vibe, but they want to push more for signing up people because y'all got to think, like all of MLMs, I don't care who they are, it's all like a leg, right? So whoever signs you up, you're on their leg. So if you sign someone else up, they become under you, but the person at the top is like making more money. They're always going to make like more money the more people that you sign up. Right. So they want to have like that fixed income monthly. Then trading is just like another stream of income. But what's most important is that I have a fixed amount, right? Right. So, and it was the constant thing of also like I made this per month, but you're not being transparent with how much your trading account is.
How much money did you make?
Probably nothing when I think about it. Yeah. I might have had like one good trade and then that was like it, because like obviously like I already knew like somewhat about it, so I knew how to navigate it, but that's just me in general. Like I'm pretty good with technology, but I definitely didn't cover my bases like for I think the 3 months I was in it. Right. Because after 3 months I was like, okay, I'm out, because I wanted to at least give it a chance, and I was like, okay, so are we gonna hop on a Zoom? Are y'all gonna like help us? And they were like, yeah, we'll do it, just worry about signing people up. I'm like, y'all are so savage.
But I gotta also add this in here for Will. A lot of times a common response to that sort of thing that Will's saying is, oh, he tried for 3 months and he failed it. Oh, he must have just not been working hard enough. And I know Will personally. He's an entrepreneurial guy. He's not a lazy guy. He works hard.
Right.
So if Will is in there for 3 months and he's trying to figure out trading, they're not giving him that sort of trading education that they talked about.
Yeah.
And he's struggling to pay his membership fees. It just feels like, you know, if you failed, like they set you up for failure almost.
Exactly.
You know, like the cost is so high compared to what they're actually giving you.
Yeah.
How many other people do you think are out there losing money in these sort of operations?
I mean, there's got to be tons like that are failing at this every day, because that's usually your first exposure into anything like entrepreneurial, right? Like for me, I thought I was like cursed of this like MLM businesses always following me. I'm like, there are so many MLMs, and now you combine trading with it. That's dangerous, because guess what? As you all know that watch the channel, what is it? 90% of traders, 95% of traders fail. It's a high number in the 90s.
Then you add that to the MLM
Yeah.
numbers that have come out, which are like 99.
Yeah.
99% failure rate plus a 95% failure rate.
We got 100%.
It's very, very difficult for anybody to actually be successful in that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So I guess there are, I'm not going to try and rationalize with MLM because you know, I'm not a big fan. There are technically people who make money in it. There are technically people who have tons of sales experience who are very, very successful with it.
Right.
But they're usually, you know, they're at the top of the pyramid and they work very, very hard to get there, I guess. Would you recommend this to anybody, or would you recommend it to nobody? And if you were to recommend it to somebody, who would that be?
You have to be very self-aware of who you are, right? I think that is always, that alone is something that's like a key to success in life, in my opinion, in general. You have to know like your strengths and weaknesses. So I would say someone that's more like salesy, right? I mean, it's just so tough for me to say, because you can't promise anything to anyone. Well, you can, but you're being a slime ball. But it's like, you know what I mean? Because you can't promise them they're gonna make this, because there's actually like no guarantee, right? But if you're a salesperson, honestly, that's the only person I would recommend to even like try it, because that's the focus of MLMs. Other than that, if you don't like sales, or if you don't like talking to people about like an opportunity, then right, then I wouldn't do it. Just frankly, it's like, to me, just knowing who I am, I wouldn't do it. So if you're more like creative, and I'll just say, if you're already into markets and you watch this channel, there's no reason for you to do it, because you already know at least the basics of the markets from, you know, just watching the channel. You've had to see something from Nick. So for everyone watching, there is no point for you to do it. And if you're new to trading watching, don't do it, because, you know, we have a ton of content that just goes from like literally the bare bones of trading. I mean, from ground zero of trading, right? So
keep that money in your account.
Yeah, keep it in your account, especially if you're just starting. You need everything you can get, honestly, because it's hard. It's hard to make money, honestly. It's hard to come by, so.
It is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Will, for talking about this. I know everybody has, I have a long string of failed experiences, or as you put it in air quotes, business opportunities that didn't go well in the past. So I appreciate you opening up and talking about this and sharing it with the audience.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure they will appreciate some insider scoop from somebody who's been involved in the past.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
No problem.
Now, some of you might be thinking, but Nick, MLMs are no different from standard companies. Companies have a CEO who profits from the work of those lower in the corporate hierarchy, so everything is a pyramid, and you're just a hater. So I want you guys to know where I'm coming from with this video. I'm not a jealous, angry little man trying to ruin the fun for multi-level marketers who are trying to actually find their way in the entrepreneurial world. Actually, quite the contrary. I'm trying to encourage people that maybe this isn't it, and maybe there are some realistic ways or better ways to get involved in the entrepreneurship side of things, or even learn to trade without spending so much money. I run my own real business. We put out content, we do publishing work, we work with brokerages, we offer a community for traders. And the reason I'm so passionate about this topic is because of the dozens and dozens of emails that I receive from people in the trading industry involved or stuck or in debt because of these Forex MLMs. There's way too many of them, and it's gotten to a point where I wanted to make this video. That's really the root of this video. Although the company I run is just me and a few employees, it's rather small, but I can tell you that with confidence, there's a drastic difference between a traditional business model and an MLM business opportunity, if you will. MLM companies do not pay you for your time and effort. They pay you for your sales and require you to keep paying them in order to stay in the business. This is if you're a contractor for them, of course, but you have to pay that monthly fee just to stay in the business. They require you to invest your money first in overpriced goods or services, and you must sell or recruit others into the company in order to just break even or to receive a small commission on the products that you are selling, whether that is to an end consumer or a new person that you're recruiting into the business. And since most people struggle to ever sell the expensive products that the MLM company has put up for sale, another video topic could be that they've price matched a lot of these different things that people offer, and the prices for MLM companies are significantly higher than the prices for others. That's definitely, you can do some research on that. Go check that out for yourself. But that's another popular topic to talk about as well. And the people who get involved with these or try to sell these expensive products, but they end up being in the hole financially because they can't sell these very expensive products. The difference is that when I hire a independent contractor in my small business to work on something, I don't require them to buy into my company or buy some overpriced product from me first just to get involved with the business. I pay them based on the work, the sales, or the service that they provide to my business. And since they're providing something to the company, they deserve to get paid. They shouldn't have to pay me just to get involved with the company so that they can maybe make a profit later. See how that kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense? The reality of starting a business is that it is not easy, just like trading, and starting a business does not come in a starter kit. It's not that simple. It's a lot of hard work, and businesses are probably just as hard as starting to actually become successful in trading. It requires a ton of time and energy, and a lot of times these sort of companies make it look like it's easy when it truly is not. There's a reason why MLM companies, the whole industry, has a really bad reputation. Inside of Forex MLM communities, there is this extremely strong presence or vibe of self-help, entrepreneurship, and an emphasis on that hustle lifestyle, and that you got to be the hardest working person in the room. All of that is fine, but there's a little bit of a I guess a critic that I have of that sort of thing. This serves two devious or different purposes, in my opinion. One, it is meant to motivate sellers within the group to do their absolute best to sell more, which makes sense. That's what the MLM wants. They want everybody in the business to sell more. But two, and this is the one that kind of is a little bit more confusing, and I've heard from some of the people that have gotten into these, that it allows the MLM company or the culture of that company to convince the people involved that if they fail, which again, going back to the numbers, we know is very likely, if they fail, it's their own fault. It's because they didn't work hard enough. It's because their hustle mindset wasn't good enough. It's because of the insecurities they have. They push that blame onto you and convince you to tell yourself you're the one to blame for not succeeding. Even though, based on the numbers and statistics that we have been looking at here that have been released publicly by many MLMs that suggest that the underlying business model is built to fail for a vast majority of those involved. So they're pushing that blame on you, but at the same time, statistically, it's a business model that really, really does not suit the vast majority of people who are getting involved. So it's kind of like gaslighting almost. If you enjoyed our documentary on Forex MLMs today, please consider subscribing to the channel down below and leaving a like on the video. It does help, and we put a ton of time and effort into making these sort of documentaries, and we genuinely appreciate all the great feedback that we have received from you guys so far. It's been resounding and really, really cool to see. So thank you so much for that. Have a great day, and we'll see you back in the next video.